Hi and welcome back. Today I want to talk about what's probably the best camera bag I've ever owned, and I've owned a few, and in fact these are the camera bags I still own, and I think it's important to have different camera bags for different purposes. So let's go through the ones that I still own. So I've still got this camera bag from 35 years ago, or it's older than 35 years, and I toured part of Canada and the United States with this on the back of a bike. So it's a Lowepro. In fact, I can't even read the model because that's worn off, so still really useful. This is a Lowepro Compu Day Pack, smaller camera bag, but I can carry a laptop, a decent sized camera and a few other things. Really handy for traveling light, and fits into any overhead locker in trains or planes. And then I've got the Lowepro Pro Tactic 450 all weather, and this is a smaller day pack to my main pack. Better for traveling light. It's more likely to fit into overhead lockers in small planes. It's designed to open from the rear, so the back of the camera bag doesn't get wet if you're working in damp conditions. And it's also designed for quick access, so I can have it on my back and access cameras while it's still on my back through these quick access zips. So very useful camera bag. I've also got a fully blown tramping backpack. This is an ARN designed backpack, so lightweight, and it has these front camera carrying pockets which are padded, and they can carry quite a lot of gear. It's adjustable inners, different access points. So that's really useful for multi-day tramps when I'm carrying a lot of camera gear. And now to the camera bag that is the best I've ever owned, and certainly the most versatile, the Lowepro Trekker AW550. So why is this backpack so good? Well, first of all, the build quality is excellent. This has had some pretty hard use, and the only problem I've had with it, a little bit of stitching is coming away. I've been meaning to fix this up for some time. It's not a big issue. A few stitches would fix that up. It also has a lot of potential for attaching things to the outside. For example, it's got these quick release straps here which can be moved around on the back of the camera bag or even onto the sides. It has a tripod holder on the side here, and also you can load tripods from the back if you've got a big tripod. I'll just demonstrate how you would load a couple of tripods. So if you've got a bigger tripod, you can load it from the back just by putting a couple of the legs in this pull-out sleeve, and then using these buckles, one on the bottom and one on the top. I'll just use the top at the moment to secure the tripod. And that means you can take quite a hefty tripod, or quite a large tripod like this one, backpacking. You can also take a smaller tripod, and this is how I prefer to carry tripods on this backpack generally, is down the side here you can slip in even a couple of tripods, a standard size tripod. So very versatile for carrying tripods. On the sides of the camera bag, on the tripod side, it's got a little sleeve here to slip things in. You can slip tripod legs in there. The tripod leg holders have a abrasive back, or a sticky sort of back, which grips the tripods quite nicely so they don't move around. We can put that other tripod sleeve tucks away in the middle there. On the other side is a substantial side pocket, and this is big enough to carry a bladder. So if you've got a fairly standard, this is a 2-litre water bladder, that can go on the side, and there's a little slot for attaching the tube, a nifty little slot there, and you can attach the tube. and you've got hydration on the go. The other thing I really like about this is if you happen to have a leak from the water bladder, it's got a tiny little eyelet with a hole in the bottom, so if you do have a leak, it's not going to wet all your camera gear. Nice little design feature. Moving on to the inside of the pack, got a couple of zips, really robust zips with a grab handle. You've got loads of capacity. It comes with a small packing cell, I guess you could call it, with lots of dividers, slots to carry memory cards or anything additional, a little zippable sleeve. That's really useful, and I'll talk about this later when we talk about traveling or taking the bag on a plane. It comes with lots of dividing options, removable dividers, so you can actually take a camera with a very long lens already set up in the camera bag. I haven't got all of the dividers that came with it in the bag at the moment. In fact, I keep a lot of my dividers in a plastic bag because I have so many from different camera bags they get all a bit mixed up. But it does come with ample number of dividers. It has see-through zip-up compartments, 3 of them, different sizes. Well, actually 4 because the top one's divided. I find that really useful for being able to see quickly the accessories you've got. A couple of memory card holders at the top there where you can put in several memory cards. It has a detachable top, and this is useful especially when you're traveling by aircraft, so that it takes the bag down to the correct size. This detachable top, which has a couple of reasonable size compartments, comes with a strap. So this actually converts to a kind of a sling bag, which I use a lot. I found it really useful. So you can clip in the strap that comes with it and pop it over your shoulder and use it like a sling bag. And I have put cameras in here. It doesn't have padded protection, but you can, if you're careful, keep your valuables separate, and I've never had any problems with it. So how much can you pack into this bag? Well, this is pretty much what I took, apart from a camera body, which I'm using at the moment. This is what I took on a recent overnight trip to a location on the hills, minus this, which I carried in another bag. But before we get on to that, packing all this into the bag, I just wanted to show you something with the zippers. They do come with a nifty little locking device, which will let you put on a small padlock. Now sure, this isn't going to stop someone taking off with the bag, but it can be a deterrent or slow someone down. So let's have a go at packing all this gear into and onto this bag. So there you have it, it's ready to go. I didn't actually carry the water bladder in my bag. I had my water bladder, 2 litres of water, in a separate carry bag. So that's all ready to harness up and hit the hills. So a little bit about the harness system. It's got an excellent harness and really good padding support on the back. It's as good as a lot of tramping packs I've used. So you've got a waist belt, which is fully adjustable. If you've got a heavy load, this is really handy for keeping the weight on your hips. You can also, once you've made the front of it firm, tighten up from the sides here. It's got a couple of little tightening straps. For just making it more snug around your hip, you've got a sternum strap, which is also adjustable, just to keep the harness nice and snug on your shoulders. And of course you can adjust the tightness of the harness. So I can carry quite a heavy load for most of a day without any strain or issues. The waist belt also has a small pocket, really handy if you're keeping things like a snack or some keys. Another really clever design feature is that all the straps have little elastic loops which allow you to tuck away the extra straps so they're not flapping around. The bag also comes with some handy carry straps, so if you're using it on planes or traveling, you can actually it's got a couple of grab handles, and also on the bottom you can grab the straps there, as well as a really robust handle at the top. I don't usually have the waist strap on for normal everyday use. I just find it's not really necessary if I've got a reasonably lightweight kit. Also for traveling, if you're traveling on aeroplanes, it's best to take the waist strap off. It just gets in the way. So to get the waist strap off, just undo the side straps and then put your hand in underneath the waist strap, and you can just feel the Velcro gripping the back of it. Once you've got all the Velcro off, you can just slide it out. So that's how I use the backpack, generally day-to-day use, kind of a minimal setup. So let's talk a bit about airline travel and using this as a carry-on bag. It only just fits in with the dimensions allowed for carry-on. And I'm using Singapore Airlines as my benchmark because I've traveled with them a lot. However, you will need to remove the waistband, take off the top hood, and I suggest taking this off as well, and I'll get to why you take that out of the inside. So this is completely empty, except for the dividers. So let's see what it weighs empty. So that's 2.7 kgs. Now, Singapore Airlines allow you 7 kgs for your carry-on luggage and a small handheld piece. So that's already taking quite a lot of the allowed weight empty, only allowing you another 4.3 kgs, and that's a mirrorless camera and a zoom lens can weigh over 2 kilograms. So it doesn't leave room for a lot. I suggest you go to the limit that you can take and then use this insert bag to carry heavy items such as power banks or maybe even lenses. Pack in as much as that as you can, and then you can use that as your extra piece of baggage, or use the cover pouch to pack full of stuff. That way you can get a fair bit on board. So just out of curiosity, I'm going to weigh the bag because it's quite heavy, but the harness system was really good. It really made it easier to carry that amount of weight without stressing any part of my body. So let's see what this weighs. So that comes in at 19.25 kilograms. That's reasonably hefty. You know, that would be a reasonably hefty suitcase. I found this belt system and the sternum strap really effective at spreading the weight and making it feel really stable. You know, if I didn't have anything in my hands, it just feels like a heavy tramping pack. So let's talk a little bit about weather protection. The backpack does come with a very good backpack raincoat built in, but you won't get it on if you've got a big tripod like this one on the back. By the way, these straps here come with a really good locking mechanism, which means you're very unlikely to loosen the straps accidentally. So you have to click off the unlock before you can adjust the straps. So the raincoat is located on the back. There's a wee zippered compartment. You pull the raincoat out. It's got a reinforced base, which is really good for wear and tear. So you can accommodate a smaller tripod on the side and still get the raincoat on. And it will cover up things really nicely. And you've got a couple of tightening straps here. And I have used this in quite heavy rain and it works really well. Once you're back home, you need to dry this out. This will come apart from the pack. It's got a strap on the bottom with a Velcro hook, which you can undo. So if you need to dry the raincoat out or give it a wash, so you can wash and dry that separately. So really good weather protection. You can carry a decent sized laptop. This is a MacBook 16-inch Pro. There's a sleeve in the front of the pack which has a magnetic clip, which is actually quite secure. You can't really get it off without pulling to the side and then up. So the MacBook Pro slots in there quite easily. There's not a lot of protection, however, it's fairly thin. And if you want extra protection, I suggest also using a laptop sleeve like this one here. And even with the sleeve, it still fits in. It's a bit of a pinch to get the magnetic clip closed, but it does close. So just a note for carrying things when you're carrying a lot of stuff and you're carrying all the extra bits, you can actually attach this to the top of the pack. It's got a handy little sleeve there which slides through those points, and you can just keep the top compartment, the sling bag part of it, on as well. So that will slot in there, giving you even more capacity and a good way to carry those 2 extra bits. So what didn't I like about this bag? Well, in truth, not much. I have heard comments that it doesn't stand up by itself very well, but that's true of any backpack really. They're not designed to sit on the base, and I don't think you often need that anyway. The other criticism I've heard of it is that because it's not a rear opening bag, you can get the harness and the back of the bag wet by putting it on the wet ground. Well, you can simply carry, as I do, a piece of plastic. This is a really durable reinforced plastic, and just put that on the wet ground before you put the bag down, and that's an easy solution to that problem. It is quite an expensive bag. However, I think the price of the bag is well worth it. It's a reflection of the quality and the robustness of it, and the amount of attention to detail and the research that has gone into this bag. So who is this bag for? Well, I'd say it's for a photographer or photographers that need to carry a lot of gear on a regular basis, that do long day trips in the backcountry, the occasional overnight trip perhaps. You could use it for that at a pinch, and photographers who need to travel. So it's a really, really versatile bag, and yeah, I'm recommending it. And if you want to learn about what I put into my camera backpack on a day-to-day basis, watch the video. There should be a link up above somewhere, and I'll leave a link in the description. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.